Go to East here on the road for this one, not at the game, physically somewhere else, but we got to talk some Pacers Kings. I covered the team for Forbes, and watching that one was quite fun. The Pacers' second half was excellent, in my opinion. Their best half of the season, or at least among their best two or three halves of the season, and the final score suggests that might have been their best performance of the season. Pacers win this one by 27, 122-95. Both numbers important. Pacers really good this year from a record perspective when they hit 120. I believe they only have one loss at that number, maybe two on the year. And 95, an excellent defensive game for them. Very rare they hold anyone under 100. And that 27-point differential entirely comes from the second half, 70-43 for the Pacers in that half. Just like with the total score, both of those numbers are excellent. 70 points and a half is amazing. 43 allowed and a half is amazing. Mike Brown, the Kings head coach, went up and said, yes, our offense wasn't good, but if you give up 70 points and a half, you're not going to win very much. He's exactly right, and the Pacers will take it. They look great right now. That's their fourth win in a row, and fifth and sixth games. That Hornets loss just stands out so much right now as the Pacers round into some form. And to me, and I think anyone watching this team, what has stood out as they've played better, is just how much more purpose it feels like they're playing with offensively. I talked to a couple people, I even said it on this channel and on the Locked On Pacers podcast recently, about when the Pacers were struggling, it felt like a lot of their passing this season was just passing to pass. Hello to my cat who's about to be joining us on the stage here, as they would just throw it around the perimeter, station to station. Nobody in particular was trying to drive or create something with the passing. They were just throwing it to throw it around the perimeter. That was their problem against zone. Recently, they've been much, much better at actually moving the ball with purpose. This is their fifth game in their last six that they've reached 30 assists, 35 in this game for the Pacers. That ties a season high with their Philadelphia game that they just won about 10 days ago, and their game in New Orleans in early November that they actually lost because their defense failed them. But still, it's tied for a season high, and they are 11-2 when they reach 30 assists, and they've done it in 5 of their last 6 games. The only one they didn't get it was their loss against Charlotte. Clearly, the ball movement's been better. Clearly, the Pacers' performances in this stretch have been better. I think that's what it shakes down to, is just more obvious, purposeful play from this team as they try to round into form and continue to play like the Pacers of last year. They still have strides to take offensively to do that, but that's really the story of this Pacers winning streak, is what that looks like. And in this game, something that stood out specifically is, last year in a lot of their best games, they would have a standout offensive performer, whether it was Tyrese Halliburton going crazy or any one of their other talented players having a solid offensive night. Tonight, they scored 122 points without a 20-point score. It's almost hard to fathom that reality. Pascal Siakam led the way for the Pacers in this one with 19, a ton of his damage coming in the third quarter. He was terrific in that period, sinking shot after shot over Doug McDermott or Trey Lyles or whoever the Kings tried to put on him. The Pacers broke their typical sub pattern and subbed Obi Toppin out instead of Siakam late in the frame to keep him on the floor, and that was totally the right move. He played great basketball for that stretch, and the front court in general, I think, was the story to me for the Pacers and how they got this one done. They needed to find an advantage there because De'Aaron Fox is so talented, maybe the best player on the floor in terms of their season resume, and Fox was pretty good with 23-7 in this game, but the front court battle, even with Domantas Sabonis having 21 rebounds, I think anyone who watched the game would say Miles Turner outplayed him. Miles Turner 7 for 9 from the field and made all 6 of his 2-point shots in this game on his way to 15 points, 6 rebounds, and assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Really fantastic night for Turner, who, again, you can point to the rebounding all you want. I think Sabonis kicked his butt on the glass in this game. I think Turner kicked Sabonis' butt in just about every other way. Turner, physical on defense, as Sabonis goes 8 for 22 from the field. In this game, they made it hard for the Kings to really get anything going inside. In the second half, the Kings were doing a good job in the first half of attacking the paint, but the Pacers really corrected that. And so Turner, by stretching out the Kings with some shooting in this one, by finishing his plays inside, by passing with purpose, and by defending Sabonis well, did very well in that matchup, extremely well. And Siakam, the Kings just had absolutely no answer for. They're just too small, right? They have 3 guards that they start, and DeRozan, Monk, and Fox. Keegan Murray was toggling on a bunch of different matchups. They didn't have the right guy to put on a Siakam, so they tried some size with Lyles. They tried McDermott for some size. Jay Crowder doesn't play in this game, and none of those options worked. Siakam just feasted on all those. So that was a big advantage for the Pacers because I wondered going into this game if the guard play would come out in the wash. It really didn't, though. Halliburton took a 2-point shot for the first time since last Sunday, but he had 14 and 8 with 5 boards, only 1 turnover. He struggled early. I think he missed his first 3 threes and really came alive after that point for just a solid night. He's been playing pretty well as the Pacers ball movement has picked up, but the rest of the Pacers guards were terrific at something. In the case of Andrew Nembhard, it was everything. He was 5 for 6, made both of his threes, 4 assists, only 2 turnovers. Really great defense all night on whoever he had. Typically, it was De'Aaron Fox, who was 7 for 19. Sometimes it was Malik Monk. Occasionally, DeMar DeRozan, who had 2 points. DeMar DeRozan, for those of you who've watched the Pacers for years, usually crushes the Pacers. Only 2 points for DeMar DeRozan. Really great night for Nembhard. Benedict Mathurin deserves a lot of credit for those defensive moments as well. I thought this was one of his best defensive games this season. He had 8 rebounds and 3 assists as well. The only thing that didn't work for Mathurin tonight was scoring at all. He missed some layups that he usually makes. He did not get to the line at all. He was very frustrated with the officiating at times in this game as he went 2 for 9, but was plus 27, right? Did just about everything else well in this game. In fact, kind of a proof of concept game for the whole blending what Ben Mathurin's good at and blending what the Pacers are good at debate that everybody's been having for years. And the Pacers bench continues to be better than they were early in the season. Obi Toppin's dominant January will just never stop. He had 11 points and was plus 11. TJ McConnell had 10 assists off the bench. He had 12 points on 6 for 11 shooting. He was getting into the lane whenever he wanted, hit some crafty layups, hit some of those jump stop into jumpers. And Ben Shepherd, probably the story of the game for the second unit, 5 for 5, made 4 threes, including what to me was the biggest shot of the game. Kings making a run late in the third quarter, get it down to, I think, 9. Ben Shepherd, right before the buzzer of the third quarter, drills a huge corner 3, took the crowd out of it, took the Kings out of it. Pacers dominated to start the fourth and really put the game away. That shot was critical for the momentum shift of this one. Jarris Walker chipped in with some nice plays, and that's how you knew this was the Pacers' night. This game was far settled when this stuff happened, but with about 2 minutes to go, Jarris Walker throws himself an alley-oop off the backboard, but instead of shooting, he threw a pass off the catch to Thomas Bryant in the corner, who drilled the 3. Crazy highlight. Who thought about those 2 players connecting ever when Bryant wasn't even on the team to start the season? Then James Johnson, a couple possessions later, catches it on the right wing, beats his defender off the dribble, spins past another defender, and flips it to Johnny Furphy for a dunk. Those are 2 real plays that happened in an NBA game in 2024, almost 2025, 10 days away. Those were excellent moments for the Pacers that just show this team's playing with joy, they're playing connected, and everyone, literally everyone, down to the end of the bench is playing very well right now. Dominant win for the Pacers by margin. Their best performance of the season. And if you're just watching the team, you can tell they're playing much better than they were even 15 days ago when they had some awful performances against Brooklyn and Toronto. They got a back-to-back tomorrow against the Warriors, who are pretty good this year, but coming off of one ugly loss. They're playing, I think, later tonight, so they'll also be on a back-to-back. Chance for the Pacers to somehow get back to 500. They really need it, but they're playing great. They can win in Golden State. They've done it before. They have the tools to do it if they keep playing like this. We'll see how it goes, and we'll have a video right here on this channel breaking it all down. For much more on this game, check out the Locked On Pacers podcast. Thanks for watching, guys.